Yes, everyone, welcome to Full Time Devils. My name is Steve Howson, and this is Transfer Talk for today. What we have got then is, we're going to talk about Steve Walsh for absolute, for definite, and there's an interesting angle on that one that we're going to talk about. But Aubameyang is the first one. Andy Goldstein last night on TalkSport says he's heard that United are in for the Arsenal striker for £70 million. And you go... For starters, he's 29. I mean, he's been fantastic since he came into the Premier League, replicating the sort of form that we saw over in Germany for the guy. But at 29 years of age, where's this archetype of Manchester United identity that supposedly we're recruiting for? The reason that we got Dan James and the reason that we're being linked with Longstaff. Where does Aubameyang fit into that? And why do Arsenal want to sell to United? Do they not remember what happened last time they did that? Oh, Robin van Persie. I guess Sanchez kind of to a lesser extent. Look, £70 million for a 29-year-old of the sort of quality that Aubameyang is, it doesn't feel like good business to me. I keep getting told that the Glazers and Woodward are amazing businessmen, just not that great at a football club running. Well, that would tell me that they're not even amazing at business, because £70 million for someone with a no resale value. If we're not getting £70 million for Lukaku, who's probably got several contracts left in him as a player, then how the hell are you talking about £70 million for Aubameyang with no resale value? Unless £70 million is the new £20 million, considering it's essentially the similar sort of circumstances that we got Van Persie in back in 2013. This makes zero sense for me. It makes zero sense from the Arsenal side, makes zero sense from United on the financial side. The ability of the player is not in question, and the ability of the player to fit into United's system, not in question. I do see that working on both fronts, to be honest. I think looking at what Solskjaer supposedly wants, a flexible, fluid, very fast, aggressive front three, Aubameyang fits into that for me. But it makes no sense from a financial point of view, and it makes no sense from the Arsenal point of view. And I know Arsenal are a selling club, but I don't think you're getting that out of Arsenal. Next one we're going to talk about then is this guy, Steve Walsh. So Sky went with last night that Fergie had recommended him as the technical director to Woodward, and Woodward has said no tar. Now, there's a lot of names that have been linked with this job lately, and I know some people have been offered this job lately. This has been a job that you've seen Darren Fletcher linked with, Rio Ferdinand linked with, Patrice Evra linked with. You've seen Paul Mitchell linked with it. You've seen Mike Phelan linked with it. Steve Walsh, one of the latest names to not get that job. From what I'm hearing, this job is not everything that it needs to be in terms of what a technical director is at other clubs, or what perhaps even Steve Walsh has done as a technical director at other clubs. It's not going to be the same job that he gets here, that he's going to be doing here. So it sounds like Woodward said no for this one, which is very interesting, because does Woodward think he knows better than Fergie? Because if Woodward thinks he knows better than Fergie, we are in the shit, aren't we? When it comes to football matters, whatever Fergie said, and this is a guy that's made plenty of mistakes in his life as a football manager. This is a guy that probably recommended David Moyes to a greater or lesser degree. This is a man that has made mistakes, but it's Sir Alex Ferguson. And he should be allowed to make mistakes. Fergie is all right with making mistakes as far as I'm concerned. If it's a choice between... I mean, it's not like Woodward has not made any mistakes, is it? If it's a choice between listening to Woodward or listening to Sir Alex Ferguson, I can't believe we're even asking that question, to be brutally honest with you. I can't believe it's even a question. So, supposedly Fergie recommended him. Now, there was some serious amount of success that he's had with different clubs down the line. Basically, he worked with Chelsea, he worked with Leicester, he helped them find key players. This is what United want to do. And this might be what Dan James is. This might be what Dan James represents as a footballer. I see loads of people go, why don't we sign Mahrez when he's coming from France? Why don't we pick up Kantés? Why don't we recognise Jamie Vardy when he's playing in lower divisions? Why can't we ever do transfers like that? Then we do a transfer like that, or potentially a transfer like that with Dan James, people lose their shit. Why are we buying Swansea players? We're going to get relegated. This is something that I would hope that somebody like a Steve Walsh is going to come and do, like a Paul Mitchell would come in and do. That's the sort of job and the role that I want them to do. I want them to have the confidence in their scouting network to be able to go and action transfers of this nature. That's what I want from a technical director. I want them to go, the jigsaw piece we need has got this shape to it. That's the guy who's the shape that fits it best. Let's get him. And whether that is someone that's coming from League Two in France, whether that is someone coming from the Championship, whether that's a lad that we've already got in the academy, I want someone to work with the manager as a buffer towards the board and go, maybe you don't need Neymar. Maybe this kid is going to get to a level close to that for essentially nothing. That's what I would like a director of football, a technical director, to do. So while at Chelsea, he was apparently the guy that scouted the likes of Gianfranco Zola and Didier Drogba. He left later for a chief scout role with Newcastle, which is when he then worked with Pearson, and they followed Pearson to Leicester and then to Hull. And he also accompanied on his return to Leicester. He's scouted the obscure players like Vardy, the Kante, the Mahrez. He got sacked at Everton, though, because of a poor run of form and possibly some questionable transfers. But this is the thing with a transfer. I often see the manager get blamed for transfers. I've seen directors of football blamed for transfers. I've seen owners blamed for transfers. It's not 100% and 0% in that thing. It's a case of there's a proportion of blame for everyone, and it might change for each transfer. Unless you're sitting there in the meetings with them, you don't know who was pushing for that transfer the hardest. We say Di Maria and Falcao were Woodward signings. We don't know that. We wasn't in the meeting. It might have been Woodward was like, well, I quite like them from a commercial point of view. Why do we want them as players? Certainly Di Maria at 56 million, British record transfer fee. Why do we need him? And whoever in the scouting department or the manager might have pushed for that the hardest. We don't actually know who is responsible for them. But there are people like Paul Mitchell, like Steve Walsh, minus Everton, who've had a very good track record in bringing through players that have got a certain degree of potential that they go on and hit. He's got a real good eye and the confidence to go and convert those into transfers as well. Because I think sometimes United are scared to actually make those smaller transfers like the Dan James. I think we prefer to go with your 50, 60 million pound signings because we think that there's some sort of guarantee in them that probably doesn't even exist, to be brutally honest with you. Elsewhere on the ins, we saw Wan-Bissaka for England last night, and I've seen mixed responses. I thought he was pretty good. In the final third, he was losing the ball a lot. I wanted him to commit his man a little bit more. That might have been down to tactics, because he has done that a little bit for Palace. He certainly didn't do that for England. I thought it was a really enjoyable game. England was, on one hand, lucky to still be in the game after the penalties, but I thought better finishing, and they would have absolutely wiped the floor with France. What's interesting is Marcus Rashford is the same age as the likes of Gray and Solanke. Can you imagine what Marcus would have done in that game last night? The fact that they was playing Dembele shows you how serious the French are taking it. They were unlucky. They capitulated a little bit towards the end. Wan-Bissaka scoring an own goal means everyone's just decided the guy's shit all of a sudden. Do you know what? If United pull out of a deal on the back of one game in the under-21s, then it shows how bad we are as a football club and how much we're genuinely in trouble. Because if we're basing our decision of a player on a game-by-game basis, that means we haven't done our homework and we haven't extensively scouted this kid. So I hope that it doesn't put us off. I hope we've done our homework, because he's absolutely top draw. Obviously, loads of memes are coming out about the guy already. It sounds like we've actually made some advancements with the signing. A lot of people thought he might have actually got done prior to the game yesterday. That didn't happen. But it looks like the fee is right. The structure of the fee, whether we want to pay it on the never or we want to put it into loads of bonuses, is what the argument is about at the moment. I think it's very close, this one. In terms of the outs, again, there's just everything going off about Pogba. Day before, we had all of the fallout from the comments that he'd made at the weekend. Last night, it's all about, oh, he's going to get 500 grand a week, he's going to get this, he's going to get that. Look, this is going to rumble on until the window closes. And it'll probably rumble on past our window closing, because we can still technically sell him after our window's closed and he could go elsewhere. Mint. Apparently Lukaku, out of respect for Manchester United, won't force a move. Are you taking the piss? The guy's been coming out and saying that he thinks Conte's the greatest manager, been talking about how he'd love to play in Italy. Mate, you've basically done everything except make your own banner and stand there holding it saying, I would like to leave United. You're not going to force your hand. You've already forced a hand. Don't talk shit. It sounds like Lukaku is very much on his way out. Looks like they might be looking at trying to offload Icardi before they actually sanction the deal for him. Sounds like he's gone, as far as I'm concerned. And I think them comments are utter bollocks, to be honest with you. And finally, Juan Mata. And I guess there's another one as well. Tuanzebe, I'm hearing the talk about Tuanzebe going is real. There's a bit of a new contract talk to be had. I don't think his agent wants him to go on loan. I think they're looking at him signing a new deal and staying with United and being part of the first team squad or leave permanently. Which, again, I question the identity of United if we're signing up Juan Mata for 3 years and allowing someone like Axel Tuanzebe, who is a top-class prospect, to go for peanuts. Especially if we're going to go and bring in someone like a Diop for 45 million. You've got a player probably greater than Diop in the team already with Tuanzebe. Why are you going to flip him to bring in Diop? Because he's got experience in the Premier League when Axel's only got it in the Championship. It's arguably harder for him in the Championship, really, in a Villa team. Come on, man. There was also nothing great, I didn't think, about Diop. I thought he was pretty ordinary in a West Ham team. That was pretty ordinary. I don't think this one makes sense. Anyway, Juan Mata's agreed a new deal. Sounds like it's 3 years. That's mental. 3 years. Now, I like the idea of keeping Juan Mata around. I thought there's a lot of experience that's gone, a lot of experience that could still go, and we do need some leaders in and around the team. My worry is the length of the contract. When it was, do you remember Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes was in the 30s? They was on 1 year rolling contracts. How the hell have we gone back on our own policy to award Juan Mata a deal of 3 years? Absolutely balmy. Anyway, get your comments in about any of those in below, and I guess I will see you in the next one. Laters.